Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. My name is Ben. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, guys, make sure to like this video. Number one thing you can do to spread mass adoption is through mass likes. All right, guys, let's talk about Bitcoin for a little bit. I want to kind of talk a little bit about what's going on in the world with these train derailments and, I don't know, inflation and just, World War III, what y'all should really be thinking. Okay, so, number one, Bitcoin. Remember this, guys. Remember this lesson. It's one of the most valuable lessons I can ever teach you. Sundays are for shorting. Sundays are for shorting. Why? Well, because the volume is usually much lower on the weekends. And when the price is going one direction, when the volume tanks, that's usually a good indicator the price is going to go the opposite direction, right? We see this in the heat of the bull market. When the volume drops a little bit, you'll see the price go up more. When you're at a moment like this, where the price has been hitting resistance, you're going to see the price probably drop. Now, it's much easier for whoever is in charge, whoever's in control of the market at that point, to move the market. So right now, what you're seeing is people are wanting to move the market in order to get better buy prices, as they know the price of Bitcoin is steadily going up. And I tell you what, I don't know, feeling more and more and more like we could be seeing the beginning of something we haven't seen before. Could we be seeing the beginning of a Bitcoin super cycle? Could we be seeing the beginning of Bitcoin going up uncharacteristically high during this part of the cycle? Traditionally, what we've seen during this time is a bull trap. And right now, there's really no strong reason to believe, other than feelings, that we're going to see the price continue to go up, because traditionally we should see a bull trap right now and we should be about right where we're at. It's just, I don't know, call me crazy. The momentum feels a little bit different right now. So call me crazy there, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. The price of Bitcoin rejected again at 25,200. Should we basically see this as, a double top, or now this might be a triple top? I see this more as Bitcoin just hitting a level, bumping its head a few times, and then going back down off of a rejection. The more times it knocks on the door of this level, the more likely it is to break through. And what I'll tell you is that, okay, so here's the principle to understand. Why do double tops and double bottoms generally work as indicators? Well, the reason would be because they get either a stiff rejection or an outpouring of support on the double bottoms. The thing about a double bottom is, on that second one where it hits the same range it was rejected off earlier, you get a massive run up from that. A double top, what do you see? Well, let's look back when we were at 64 and 69K respectively in the last bull market. Now, people would consider, even though they were $5,000 different, a lot of people consider that to be a double top. The rejection off both was fierce. What are we seeing now that we're hitting this important, pivotal $25,200 level? What are we seeing on these rejections when Bitcoin goes up? Well, we're seeing we'll go down a little bit, down a couple $100. We're not seeing fierce rejections that are reversing the trend. So if you see a stiff, gigantic rejection and it has trouble even coming back up to attempt to cross the line again, or that level again, then you could be looking at, okay, well, things are really bearish. But that's not what we're seeing. Somebody take a shot for a yawn. Every time I yawn, you gotta take a shot. Shot of kale, shot of wheatgrass, shot of an energy drink, I don't know, shot of coffee, whatever you take a shot of. But the point is that we're not seeing that. This is more of I call it the knock-knock pattern. It's eventually somebody gonna open the door and we're gonna get out where we want to get. Okay, so let's kind of talk about what's going on in the world, because it's just, I don't know, there's a lot of strange stuff going on. It's really hard to look at all this stuff, the train derailments, the factory explosions, China talking about sending weapons to Russia, and I just gotta believe. Some of you guys get in this mode where you see like something you feel is conspiratorial, and you say, this is what they're trying to distract us from. They're trying to distract us from these train explosions and train derailments. These things are all over my timeline. That's all people are talking about on my timeline, are these train derailments. that doesn't sound like something I'm being distracted from. When it's all over my timeline, it seems like maybe that's part of the distraction, to be honest with you. I don't know what our eyes are supposed to be shielded from right now. Maybe it's just from the economy. Maybe it's from stuff going on in other places of the world. But in my opinion, we're not heading towards World War III. Yeah, this is something that is a narrative that people are saying, and people are very prone to believe it because for this reason or that reason or whatever reason, because that's what they want. People like chaos, they want destruction, they want bad things to happen, I guess, for whatever reason. But the fact is that, guys, do you know how insane any of these countries would be, whether Russia or China, to make a move against the United States? Is their guaranteed destruction. Do not be fooled by this, China is powerful and they'll wipe us off the face of the planet. Now, guys, China's a house of cards. If you've done any research, if you've done any investigation into this, you understand China's economy is paper thin. It's all money laundering through the People's Bank of China. That's it. They really don't have anything. A lot of our goods are made there. They've got that on us. They've got some loans against a lot of countries to where those countries can't pay those loans back. And so China's going to be able to take some infrastructure from those places, like some railroads or, landfills, some other types of things. They got that going on. I mean, they're not, they're more powerful than Wyoming, probably. Give them that. But China's not coming after the United States. These weather balloons, yeah, they're spying. You get some military secrets, I'm sure. But guys, the world is at a nuclear standstill, and it will remain there. Any country that has nuclear weapons that chooses to fire them off first, or if China, God forbid, were to attack a coast of the United States, the West Coast, obviously, Hawaii possibly, guys, they're done. They're finished. We will light them up more than Will Smith in Independence Day, okay? They know this. They're not stupid. So all these moves that are being made around the world right now, they're calculated. They understand that this is not going to end in some kind of nuclear war or some kind of World War III. There's just too much on the line right now for something like that to occur. Now, what you could see, what you're likely to see from China is some posturing to scare the United States into not defending Taiwan. But as long as the United States says they're going to defend Taiwan, they go and defend Taiwan, and China ain't going to do nothing. China wants us to change our policy on things. That's what they're trying to get us to do, change policy, so that way they can come in and take over Taiwan or do whatever they want to do. Russia is the one wild card here. However, while Russia's not totally predictable, their teeth, their bite, or their bark, if you will, it has been revealed to be toothless, okay? They can't even beat Ukraine, a country attached to them, where they've got like 20 times the amount of people or whatever it is. They got more people in their military probably than Ukraine has, period. And they can't even take Ukraine. It's pretty sad if you really look at the Russian army and where it's at. And what this has also shown you that there's a 0% chance that Russia can fight two fights at one time. So if there were to be another front opened up on Russia from anyone, they're done. They're done. They're finished. They can't even beat Ukraine, sending all their troops there. So most likely what's going to happen there is if Vladimir Putin were to ever, I've said this a lot of times on the channel, if he were to ever say, hey, let's send a nuclear bomb to the United States or to Ukraine, wherever it would be, somewhere in Europe, guys, they will kill him internally before any person touches that button. The only person who could touch that button and send off that bomb is Vladimir Putin himself. And he'd be dead right after he pushed it. These people in Russia, they understand what they're up against. And the military understands. Vladimir Putin surrounded himself with a bunch of yes men, but they're only yes men because of what they think it will allow them and their families to be able to do compared to other people in Russia. And if they touch that button, if somebody touches that button in Russia, they know the entire country is pretty much dead. And I don't think they're prepared for that. Well, in some ways, I guess you could say that they are. They're prepared not to do that. So just remember, guys, you're seeing a lot of stuff out there right now that could be distractions. Maybe some of it's real. But overall, here's my advice to you. just keep making moves like you would make anyways. You can't take these world events into consideration because what are these train derailments? Do we know? What's real and what's not real when it comes to a possible World War III? Do we know? We don't. It's just you don't know. You can't factor those things into your decisions. And so what I would say is that everybody just needs to, look at that. Yeah, we just go across the median sometimes because we're gangster like that. We don't want to wait at the red light. Hopefully there's no cops watching the show. If they are, I'm sorry. But the fact is that you got to keep making moves of what you know. You have to make moves based on your information, what is known. You can't factor unknowns into your investing strategy, other than to understand that black swans do occur sometimes. So maybe you want to keep some money on the sidelines in case of some type of disaster. But I honestly don't see it happening. We're hitting the studio here. We're gonna go live with Crypto Blood here in a few minutes. That's all I got. Be blessed. Good boy out.